Hi, I'm Dr. Barbara Milton. Welcome to the Social Work Show. So good to have you with me this evening. Hope you had a lovely day. What we're going to do today is something I did before that I was going to do probably once every 3 months or so, which is to go through my Twitter account. I know lots of people don't have Twitter, and gives you an opportunity to see Twitter, gives you an opportunity to see how it works. It's also just a place for people who like to give their opinions about all kinds of cultural, political, social issues. I enjoy it. You can search for people that you desire to have a connection to receive information from. That's newspapers, TV stations, blogs, vlogs, all, very interesting people who are in the entertainment and political worlds, cultural worlds. And it really gives you a chance to get information. Um, I think if nothing else is apparent to us all, the citizenry of this country, one of the most apparent things, in my opinion, is that far too many people get inundated with maybe just, one stream of information. For example, for me, I'm definitely a liberal, I'm a Democrat, and I tend to listen to op-eds and pundits and analysis that's sort of on the left-leaning um, political spectrum and cultural spectrum. But it's also important for me to hear what people on the other parts of the spectrum are saying as well, which is why I'm connected to Fox News and, Murdoch and politicians that I have, some measures of disdain for, like, Lindsey Graham or Mitch McConnell. I mean, I listen to everyone. And, I don't disagree with the people I disagree with 100% of the time. There are times I have agreement with them on issues. And for the people that I agree with most of the time, I also have disagreements. I am an open-minded thinker. I like getting information. I like making my own conclusions. I don't like being told how to think and what to think. I don't like being told who to vote for. I don't like this endless 3 years of campaigning. They don't do it like this in other countries. For example, in Canada, it's a 6 week process. In Europe, it's a 6 week process. Why can't we do that here? Makes no sense to me. But we are inundated. Requests for money, opinions, white papers, all kinds of information. And quite frankly, we have this new thing happening in America, which has to do with the way social media is so easily hacked. And, look, you see my face, you know my name, Barbara Milton. My Twitter account says Dr. Barbara Milton 2, BM2. My picture is there. Um, but you don't know with any confidence who some of these other people are. I mean, you're not required to give ID or anything like that. You can make up any handle you want. You can be whatever person you want. And as I indicated in my last episode, anonymity really, people cloaking themselves in anonymity, it allows them to have not just their regular persona, but they actually can have alter egos and be other people. And I'm not judging it. I'm saying it's just human nature. It's what people do, right? I mean, certainly the internet is used for nefarious reasons, right? There are pedophiles who pretend that they're teenagers. Overwhelmingly, these are men. Overwhelmingly, these are white men, but not exclusively. And they prey on these young girls and they create these fake accounts. And, that's very possible to do. on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and things like that. You aren't required to get a license, to show photo ID, to give any other proof of your identity. It's just not like that. And quite frankly, I think the lack of regulation on it has lent itself to these kinds of problems we're now seeing, where people can just put flat out disinformation and lies out there about other people, about their positions on things, as if we don't connect dots, as if we don't follow people from one press conference, one event, to one TV appearance, to one interview with a newspaper person to the next. We can trace people and follow people. Cameras are on all the time. Social media is there all the time, and it can be a force for good as well. I mean, I located a lot of like college roommates and college mates and high school mates and grad school mates and friends and former colleagues from different jobs I've had over the years. Certainly family and friends that I've lost contact with, or first and second cousins and things like this. And that's been lovely about Facebook. It makes it one of the difficult reasons why I don't leave it altogether, because I want to leave it. I'm not happy with the lack of regulation about their advertising, their content, the way like I can mention in a post to someone that I'm interested in a basketball game, and then the next thing you know, I get hit with 5 and 6 ads for the NBA or the WNBA or sports gear or something. This like algorithms, this intuitiveness, these way that they kind of mine for, me, my personality, my interests, my hobbies, and then they shoot corporate ads at me constantly. I cannot stand that. But that is where we are. It's true for YouTube, it's true for everything, you know? And I think, I don't know, I don't think you can buy a premium Facebook page where you can bypass the ads. You have that option on some services, like Spotify, for example. It's a music app. And, it's a community of people who are interested in music. My son is a performer and he has a band, and so he loads his music there, and you get inundated with a lot of advertisements there too, but you can purchase a premium plan and they block it for you. You pay $10 a month, $120 for the year, and then you don't get inundated with the ads. I guess it's just personal choice. I'd rather keep the 120 bucks and I mute the ads, or I turn my attention away from them. And sometimes I get offensive ads on Facebook and Twitter, and I block them. You have that option too. So if someone says something that's like threatening or malicious, or if, it's something that goes against your morals or something like that, you can block it. I can block it, and I'm good with that too. So, anyway, what I like to do is I'd like to just go through my Twitter page and offer you up some of my opinions from sort of contemporary things happening in the news. So, I'll start off right now on my page, and you can see on Fox News, they put an article up about Snapchat introducing a new feature focusing on mental health. And this is really forward thinking. I mean, there have actually been people who committed suicide or made attempts to suicide or engage in other kind of self-harm, or ideations around harm on websites. And again, there's a modicum of anonymity, but there's also like an audience. And maybe these people are oftentimes asking for help, but and Facebook actually has where you can notify the Facebook administrators if such a person is in harm's way, and it looks like Snapchat's doing the same thing, and I think that's terrific. I think the internet has been good for people who say suffer from social anxiety issues, agoraphobia, things like that, anxiety, and who won't leave their homes, who can't interact in the world because it's too distressing. And I think people find a home in reaching out for support on Facebook pages. For me, I lost my mother a year ago, and on Facebook, I have joined several grief groups. There's a group called um, Grief Support for Grief and Loss for only children who lost their parent, because I'm an only child. And wow, some of the things that's shared there are things I so relate to, and I'm able to contribute to the dialogue and get support. And I think, Snapchat's offering that. I know I said Facebook offers that. I believe if something super offensive happened on Twitter, you're able to reach the administrators as well. So I'm quite happy to see that. I'm going to put a big old like here because I think that's a good thing. I'm highlighting the heart there, and I'm actually going to retweet it also because I want other people to know about it. All right, so I will retweet that one. Now, here's Mike Bloomberg seems to have some ads on, and he's getting his message out saying that, Donald Trump lies, he bullies, he gets away with it, our kids are watching. Is this the lesson we want them to learn? I've already said that I'm a Democrat. And I just saw some research that came out just, I think, this past week that talked about the uptick in harassment, intimidation, and bullying happening at the elementary school level and in the high schools. And people connect that to sort of a cultural change where there's more permissiveness from children. They sort of see in adults now that there's less restraint, less inhibitions around harassment, bullying, and intimidation. And many people, you know, look to who our leaders are in our country, whether it be the leader in your home, which is your parents, your community leaders, elected officials, people in our various houses of worship, our civic leaders. They look to all the way up the line for people to be providing, being good role models. Let's put it like that, on how we should behave when we have disagreements with people, or um, how we have dialogue with people, how we interact with people. And certainly, Bloomberg's making the point that, I mean, Donald Trump mocked a person who was disabled, and I took such strong offense to it. It's not funny. It isn't funny to say lock up your political opponents. It isn't funny to intimate that people who are against you should be killed or jailed. Those things aren't funny. These are serious matters. It also isn't funny that institutions that are the bedrock of our democracy are constantly under assault by this current president. I take great offense in that. And listen, as a woman of African descent, I am the last person who has wholeheartedly put my faith in the FBI. Like, I still remember, Hoover, and I still remember COINTELPRO in the 60s when many black leaders were assassinated by the state. Let's put it like that. Surveilled, organizations disrupted. I mean, I have plenty of reasons to be upset with the FBI, right? But is the FBI and the CIA, are they institutions that are the cornerstones of providing intelligence and stability for all of our domestic and foreign policy? I mean, I think the answer to that is yes. And I know Donald Trump had an issue with Comey and others, and again, his retribution, which is his bullying, even since this impeachment, and his behavior since of just constantly going after, nonstop going after people who are his political opponents, to me is wholly inappropriate. Never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. I followed what happened in Germany in World War I and World War II. I mean, I'm also a Civil War buff, and I follow a lot of the writings of great generals on both sides of the Civil War and presidents. And, this is just something that's so unnerving, you know? Like, Mike Bloomberg is taking on Trump dollar for dollar, and, somebody has to. Good for him, because Donald Trump needs to be in check. He is not a king, even though he tweeted that this morning, and maybe we'll come across that tweet. So, it's very interesting to watch these different advertisements floating between the Republican Party and the Democrats during this season. Yeah, look, I have something here from Cher. What would you think if Bloomberg asked Hillary to be his VP? Whoa, I kind of saw that on the news a little earlier today, and you know what? I think Hillary just needs to retire. I think she missed her window. I think she's got to work those issues out. I mean, I know she wrote two excellent books, What Happened and these other books, and Hillary, it's time for the next level of leaders in the Democratic Party. I do not think, given how politically divisive your name is, even though I think you're amazing. I think that what you've done, you've made amazing contributions. I think you are brilliant. I certainly agree with most of the issues that you stand for and that you've worked around all your career. It is a career worthy of, I don't know, major acknowledgement and recognition, and you've had a lot of that. But now it's time to step aside. This could be Bernie's time, it could be Amy Klobuchar's time, it could be Biden's time for presidency. I don't know, but these folks deserve a chance. Could be Mike Bloomberg, who knows? Let the process unwind. I don't think you should get involved. Cher, that's what I think about it. And let me say that to you, because I'm going to say I think it's a bad idea, you know? And you can reply like that to people through their Twitter. All right, so you all saw the State of the Union last week, and you know, I have a lot of opinions about the State of the Union, but one of the things I absolutely took offense to and disagreement to was the fact that Rush Limbaugh received the Medal of Freedom. Wow. I mean, how do you give someone like Martin Luther King, even though I know the mention of his name really upsets a lot of people who are very anti Dr. King, right? Oh, he's a communist. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Maybe some of you call him the N word. Maybe some of you, I don't know. I hope not. I hope not. I think history has shown us the kind of moral leader that he was. And yes, he was human too. Okay? He was human too, right? Those same people that had issues with, Hoover and issues with, his surveillance and his love affairs. I hope he said the same thing about Donald Trump. Hope he said the same thing about, Jim Jordan, who apparently turned a blind eye to sexual abuse that was happening at the university he attended. I hope you have disdain for inappropriate criminal behaviors regardless of party, right? But I uphold Dr. King as a moral leader and a flawed human being like all of us. But Rush Limbaugh, who makes his living meting out vitriol and hate against women, people of color. He's done this all his life. He's the originator of shock radio. And he sits in the gallery of the United States Congress and receives a Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award one can get, by Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump introduced a 101-year-old Tuskegee Airman seconds before Melania pinned this Medal of Freedom around the neck of Rush Limbaugh. So, how you pivot from a true hero, a 100-year-old Tuskegee Airman credited with advancing our goals and winning World War II, and then pivot to giving a Medal of Freedom to Rush Limbaugh. I am never going to get over that. I don't know how you felt about it, but I felt very strongly about that. And then here he goes, spreading more hate, him and his ilk, this time about Pete Buttigieg, right? Who's, an openly gay man, a military veteran, a hero, a public servant, who's also competing in the Democratic Party for the Democratic nomination. And, you know, he's already being attacked, right? Limbaugh's guest said the U.S. won't elect Pete Buttigieg because he's been kissing his husband on stage. Really? At least that's love. It isn't groping and forcing your tongue into the mouth of an unwitting person, as Donald Trump did, what we learned from the that TMZ interview. Anyway, look, I'm of the mind of love between consenting adults, you know, being love and fine. In fact, we have a law that affirms love between same-sex partners. And that law is in jeopardy. And I don't need a lot of reasons to vote Democrat, but that sure is one of them. I believe that it is a civil rights and a human rights issue. And I believe that that is the nature of our democracy and our Constitution, which is to strive and grow and expand rights and not to retract and regress and lose rights, which is where and what we've been experiencing for the last 3 years. Hey, be honest. Doesn't it wear you out every single day? There is just some wacky thing that we have to deal with that's a direct result of an unstable, wackadoodle person living in the White House. Like, aren't you just tired? I have such fatigue. I would like to just rest, have normal days where, you have diplomacy and you have good discourse and you have good arguments and, we advance the business of the American people, both home and abroad. I mean, those days are gone. Those days are gone. It's just like we're in the times of personalities and not principles. A lot of personality and cultural identity issues, a lot of fear mongering, a lot of pitting and dividing, and that causes me grave concern. It is not good for any one of us. It's not good for our families, our children. It's not good for our nation, you know. And certainly the most recent attack going on is around, this issue of like socialism and social democrats and communism being evoked. Again, it's the otherism and the fears. And I just say to that, there is socialism in America today. Anytime the treasury is dispersed in the interest of the people, Medicare, Medicaid, uh, building roads and bridges, providing for the safety of us. That's socialism. It's just about redistributing the treasury to meet the needs of the people. Because right now, most of the wealth that's generated in this nation doesn't get redistributed to us, the majority of people, working people, people making less than, $150,000. There's a lot of us like that, and far less than that, right? Wealth has been distributed upwards. Millionaire and billionaires continuing to rake money in hand over fist. And where are we? Where are we? We're paying for their party. That's what we're doing. And now they're proposing more cuts to Social Security and Medicaid. First off, Medicare and Social Security is not an entitlement program. I worked hard all my life and contributed to that pool of money. And that pool of money that we all have contributed to has been raided and pilfered by many administrations, but none more egregious than what this current budget calls for. Keep your eyes on the budget. Very important to do. Listen, I can do this for hours and hours and hours, but my show only lasts for 28 minutes. So we're nearing the end already of this episode of the Social Work Show. So, as you're going down my list, you can see I have like a lot of the elected officials. Oh, I was sad that Andrew Yang fell out of the Democratic race. I liked him. I liked some of his issues. I liked some of his positions. And I think he changed the discourse, right? Like, I think the Democrats are seriously contemplating a minimum income. Rather than talking about minimum wage, they're talking about a minimum income for people. He had the $1,000 a month dividend, which was quite interesting. Um, any rate, um, listen, I really appreciate you tuning in to Dr. Milton's Social Work Show. Um, I have gotten a little bit of feedback, some emails from folks. I do include that at the end of each episode. I like hearing feedback. If there are topics you want me to expand on, if there are guests you'd like me to seek out to interview in our local viewing audience area, let me know. Send me an email. If you have a question for me to answer, if you want me to follow up on something, send me an email. drmiltonlcsw@gmail.com. I am happy to entertain your questions. All right? So in the meanwhile, just remember to stay aware. As things are coming at us a mile a minute, so much happening. Um, Try to open yourself up to more than one stream of information. Challenge some of the assumptions that you have. Like I said, I watch Fox News and I watch MSNBC. I read liberal social media pages, and I read progressive ones, and I read conservative ones, right? That's what our mind is for. Our mind is for taking in this information, being able to do some critical thinking about it, discussing it with other people. Use some of those skills I talked about on how to have civil discourse with people, and stay aware, stay awake. We're in for a big ride between now and November, and I look forward to talking to you some more about it in the episodes that'll be coming up. Have a wonderful evening, and God bless you all.